What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now, I feel like kids have a better sixth sense than adults. Despite them being crazy, they always seem to interact or see things that we don't. I definitely had an imaginary friend when I was a kid, but I feel like that was caused by me watching way too much Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Great show, just FYI. Anyway, with that being said, these are the top 10 imaginary friends that were actually ghosts. Starting us off at number 10 is Kelly. Now, this one was shared by Reddit user BrownXCode, who said when his daughter was about 3 years old, she had an imaginary friend called Kelly who conveniently lived in her closet. Kelly was a nice friend, you know, she played with the girl, she sat in her rocking chair watching over her sleep, and so forth. Either way, 2 years later, the parents are watching the Amityville Horror, the movie about the Amityville hauntings, and there's a scene where this dead girl goes all black-eyed. I haven't seen the movie per se, but the user just said this is what happened, so I'm gonna trust them. Now, at that moment in the movie, their daughter comes into the room pointing to the girl saying, "Oh, that looks like Kelly." And the parents are like, "Who the hell's Kelly?" And she replied, "Oh, you know, the dead girl that lives in my closet." I don't even understand how that even happened. How is the girl from Amityville in your closet if you're not even in the Amityville house? Make it make sense. Coming in at number 9 is Ruby. Back in May of 2018, actress Natalie Morales posted a photo on Twitter about kids writing and drawing about their imaginary friends. In one terrifying account, we have 3-year-old Ruby who drew a pregnant red stick figure with yellow eyes. Her description said this: "This is my imaginary mum, grateful. Her yellow eyelashes mean she can see in the dark. She only comes to see me at nighttime. It scares me sometimes, but I always want her to come back. She has 2 babies in her belly. She's 14 but can never have a birthday." Like, Ruby, sweetie, something isn't right, isn't it? That's too specific of a description for a 3-year-old. I feel like this is the ghost of a 14-year-old girl who maybe got like raped, then pregnant, and then killed. I don't know, that is the worst case scenario, but my mind has to go there, doesn't it? When it comes to ghosts, I just think they've had a really bad death, and really they could have gone peacefully. At number 8 we have Mary. So this one was shared by an anonymous person who said their 2-year-old daughter had an imaginary friend who she played with quite a bit. The parents would watch her from the baby monitor and find it cute how she kept herself entertained with things like that. A few months of this went on until one Saturday morning. The parents overheard their daughter saying, "What? Okay, I'll tell her." And then the daughter walked over to the parents' room and told the mum, "Mary says you're doing a good job." And Mary was the name of the kid's grandma who she was really close to before she had died. So this imaginary friend was really just the ghost of her grandmother. I mean, it could be worse. Could be Zozo the demon. We don't like that, do we? We like Mary the grandma. Filling at number 7 slot is Emily. Shared by Redditor Good Day Brittany, she said when her sister was about 6, she had an imaginary friend called Emily. Emily lived in the sister's closet, had long dark hair, and wore a black dress, so she was either Wednesday Addams or a demon. There's no in between. Either way, the sister played with Emily 24/7, and then things started getting really weird. The sister would just be sitting in the middle of her room talking to Emily and acting very strange and bizarre. One day their brother passed her room and she turned around and hissed at him, and he swore the girl that was looking at him looked nothing like his sister. He went to tell their parents, and all he could hear was his sister screaming "get out" over and over again in a very deep voice. And last time I checked, 6-year-olds do not have deep voices, so riddle me that. Either way, after that, the siblings never asked her about it again until she was 24, and she admitted that Emily used to tell her to do horrible things to herself, and there were even times she'd wake up on the roof and have no idea how she got there, but she was just too scared to say anything. When the family moved house, Emily sort of just disappeared, and honestly I have a very strong feeling that Emily was the ghost of a girl that actually lived in that house. But I'm no expert. I feel like I should be though by now. By now. Put some respect on my name. Now, at number 6 is the man. Now, I mean, there's no hard and fast rule with a kid's imaginary friend. You'd expect them to be the same age as the kid, but they don't necessarily have to be, apparently. So this one was shared by Reddit user rcrowley32, who said her daughter used to tell her about an imaginary man that came into her room every night, which is really shady. Now, he would come in not malicious or anything and just put the sign of the cross on her forehead. Weird flex, but okay. The user then assumed her daughter was just having recurring dreams until one day when her mother-in-law was sending over some family pictures. The daughter looked at a picture of her granddad who had died 16 years prior and said, "That's the man who comes into my room at night." And it made sense since he used to do the sign of the cross on the husband's forehead as a kid as well. There's a lot of haunting grandparents going on. I'm about it though. Coming in at number 5 are the remains. Now this one is short and sweet and was shared by Reddit user Bahaha. Sorry, I just love how it's Baha as in like B-A-J-A and then Ha. Anyway, they said they used to babysit this one boy who had 2 really odd imaginary friends. Both of them were dead. One was an old lady while the other literally had no head. Both of them were covered in blood and the decapitated one had all his insides just coming out of his neck. Now the user didn't ask him more questions about them because clearly they were ghosts of people's past. The decapitated one, I'm guessing, was killed in medieval times, and the old lady, I mean, that could have been any time, maybe a month prior, to be honest, who already knows. At number 4 is Jonathan. Now 3-year-old Rebecca was super stoked to tell her parents about her new friend Jonathan. The parents thought it was cute and all and left it to her own devices. Rookie mistake, people, you never do that. Months went by and Rebecca started getting weirdly obsessed with the closet in her room and eventually told her parents that Jonathan was in there. Again, they ignored her because let's face it, she's 3 and is probably just talking a bunch of baby shit. Let's be real. Now a few more months go by and Rebecca's mum becomes pregnant, so the family move into a bigger house to accommodate the growing family. With the new house, Rebecca completely forgot about Jonathan until 4 months later when a new family moved into their old house. They ended up contacting Becca's dad saying they had found a trap door in the back of Rebecca's closet and under it was a hole. And inside that hole was a box that had Jonathan written on it, and inside of that was a bunch of babies' clothes and pictures. Now, I'm no ghost expert, but you definitely have a haunting on your hands, my friend. This is definitely a haunting. And I have a lot of expertise to back me up. I am a professional. Although I look like Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls right now, but I am a professional, I assure you. Filling at number 3 slot is Anna. This one's from Lynn Gallagher's book Psychic Kids, which discusses unexplained incidents with kids. This particular story tackles couple Lorenda and Ben and their 6-year-old daughter Anna. The trio had just moved into an old Victorian era house, and a few months in, Anna starts mentioning a girl called Jess. Anna said there was a dollhouse in the house that Jess didn't want her to play with, and so she listened. But then it got worse and it almost seemed like Jess started controlling Anna. She would stop letting the family dog into her room because Jess was scared of it, which Lorenda found really odd. She spoke to Ben, who brushed it off, saying imaginary friends are part of growing up, and I mean fair Ben, you're not wrong. You ain't wrong, Ben. Months went by with the incidents getting worse and worse until one fateful night. There was a storm and the lights had gone out in the house. Lorenda went into the living room with candles because Anna was asleep on the couch, but when she walked in she saw a little girl sitting on the floor next to Anna, singing a lullaby and stroking her hair. In the flesh, a little girl. No imagination. Lorenda obviously screamed and their dog started barking at the girl on the floor. That's when the girl realized she'd been seen and ran to the door, let out the most blood-curdling scream, and then vanished. All that was left from her was a pool of blood. And I'm like, Anna, Jess is not your friend, she's a ghost. I really hope they moved house. I really hope so. Now at number 2 is Tracy. This one was shared by Reddit's The Chillcello, who said when her niece was 4 years old, she had an imaginary friend. The niece would watch Scooby-Doo with the friend, do naughty things, and blame it on the imaginary friend, and so forth. So the user decided to ask more about this friend, and the niece said that she was a girl and that she was also dead. The user took that on the chin and asked if the friend had a job, to which the niece said yes, she does what my daddy does, aka the friend was a cop since her dad was a cop. Continuing on, she asked where the imaginary friend worked, and she said right next to where my daddy is a policeman. I met her when I was in mummy's belly, she touched it when I was inside. Hold up, little girl. Backtrack there, what was that? Apparently, a few months before the niece was born, the user's cousin Tracy had been hit by a train and killed. She was a cop, she loved Scooby-Doo, and worked in their dad's police station. So this imaginary friend just turned out to be the user's dead cousin, Tracy. There's a lot of dead family members coming back. I see a trend, do you? And finally, at number 1 is Tony. This one comes from a dad who said when his son was 4, he would always ask who the girl standing in the hallway was. Mind you, there was no girl down the hall, and this really freaked out the kid's parents. The following day, they asked him what she looked like, and he said flat. I have no idea what that means, but sure, let's just go with it, she was flat. A few months passed by, and as they do, the kids asks about the girl less and less. One day, the parents were genuinely curious and asked their son whatever happened to that girl in the hallway, to which he responded, she's Tony's sister. He says hi. The dad then turned white at the mention of that and was utterly shocked because Tony was his childhood best friend. The dad had seen Tony's little sister get run over by a car, and then Tony later killed himself. So I guess guess the whole flat thing makes sense because she was run over. So his son's imaginary friend was his best friend's dead little sister. Ghost confirmed. And that is it for today's video, guys. You know what I realized? Nearly every name in this list ends in a Y. We have Tony, Tracy, Emily, Mary. What with imaginary ghost friends ending in Y? I don't get it. Thank God my name doesn't end in a Y. Whew. Let me know what you guys thought of this list in the comments below. As always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.